Hello everyone and welcome to another video talking geeky stuff with me, Tenchi. And today's topic is, of course, Godzilla, the king of all monsters. I added the all because, in my opinion, he is the king of all monsters in movies, TV, anime, comics, and all that cool stuff. So let's get started with Godzilla and my history of it, on how I got into it. So back in the mid to late 80s in the UK, in London, we had maybe a few months where we had during the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, but they came on pretty late. You're talking about 11 o'clock onward. You had like back-to-back Godzilla movies, and they were dubbed in English, of course. And I had pretty cool parents, so they let me stay up and watch them all till like 2, 3 in the morning, while the rest of the house is sleeping. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, the first Godzilla, if my memory served me correctly, was Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, 1974, and that was the first Godzilla movie I watched. And my God, it was amazing. Fell in love with it straight away. I mean, it was fun. It was somewhat scary, considering I was a kid then. It was cool. I mean, Mechagodzilla was amazing, just the design. I mean, if you watch that version of Mechagodzilla, he has dated in today's standards, of course, but back then it was amazing. The designs, a robot dinosaur. Wow. I mean, as a kid, my mind was blown, and it was funny because even at that young, I knew there was a man in a suit. They were doing these kind of martial arts and fighting and so on. And what's one of the coolest things as a kid was, because I've seen a fair few kind of crappy dinosaur movies. Back then the CG wasn't the best, of course. And when you watch Godzilla, he's bigger than any other creature out there, right? And the most amazing thing was he breathed fire, not just fire, it was atomic fire. Because when I was young, I didn't know why his fire was blue. So that was cool. That added even more wow to the whole novelty of Godzilla. So moving on, since I'm on the topic of Godzilla movies, I just want to start recommending some of my picks. So for anyone who has an interest in Godzilla, or maybe those of you who just seen maybe a few the Hollywood ones, and maybe want to get into a bit more of the Godzilla universe, I want to know where to start, and are interested in some of the Toho Japanese Godzillas. Here's my 10 picks. There are many more. I've got them all on DVD, some of them on Blu-ray, because I'm trying to get them all on Blu-ray as well, but not every single one has been released. I've also got them all on digital download, so yep, I am a big Godzilla fan. So here are the 10 picks that I would recommend for anybody who's a newbie or have any slight interest in Godzilla. And it kind of shows you some of the cool villains. So I chose some of these ones because some of it might be because it was the importance of the film. For example, the first Godzilla, or Gojira, 1954. Then of course I put in there, the Mechagodzilla versus Godzilla, which is because Mechagodzilla is my favorite Godzilla enemy. And then another point in Godzilla history I think is worth mentioning is Godzilla 1984, or in the West it was Godzilla 1985, The Return of Godzilla. And that's a funny one because I remember watching it about 87-ish, and back then I didn't know it was actually the one I watched was actually the American version, which was actually cut from the Japanese. So what they did was they took the Japanese and they cut it, and then the American would kind of film extra scenes and cut it together to make kind of like their version of Godzilla Returns, and it was called Godzilla Returns or Godzilla 1985. It was only maybe, I think, about 1990 when I found out there was two versions, and of course I ended up watching the Japanese version, which was better, of course. So I definitely recommend watching the Japanese version. But if you get a chance, watching both. They're both fun. And then of course you got Godzilla vs King Ghidorah, 1991, where they introduced Godzilla's probably most popular enemy. I think King Ghidorah is my second favorite Godzilla enemy. Like I mentioned a few times now, Mechagodzilla is my favorite. And I'll definitely put, if you get a chance, watch Godzilla vs. Mothra, because if you've seen the Hollywood ones and you want to know a bit more about Mothra, this is a good place to find out. And another good Godzilla villain, a few of them, a couple of them was Space Godzilla, of course, and Destroyer, or Japanese call it Destroyer. I think that's how they pronounce it. And watch that. I liked Destroyer's design, and I liked the Space Godzilla design. And then Mechagodzilla 2002, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. The storyline is very, very similar to the recent film, so check that out. And then the last but not least is Toho's latest Godzilla film, Shin Godzilla, which I found really good because it combined a lot of acting. Because if there's one thing in the Japanese movies, the acting and so on can be a bit cheesy, but that's the fun. That's the fun part about watching Godzilla films. They're a bit cheesy and camp. That's all fun of it, right? But Shin Godzilla kind of wasn't that. It was a lot more serious. They took the franchise serious. Acting was serious. The special effects were pretty good. They combined modern CG with animatronics, a man in a suit, and the Godzilla design I liked. Not my favorite, but it's a pretty good take. And I want to see what Toho does to Godzilla and his look soon. So hopefully because Godzilla's rights kind of revert back to Toho, and I know they are in production with a new movie, so I'd like to see what they do with that. While we're on the subject of movies, I've been mentioning Godzilla breaking into Hollywood. So of course we all remember Godzilla by Roland Emmerich, the director of Independence Day, back in 1998, starring Matthew Broderick and Jean Reno. That was, I remember the trailer. The trailer was amazing. The teaser trailer. I don't know if you remember. If you don't, definitely YouTube that was a little museum. There was a tour guide talking about T-Rex, saying it's the biggest dinosaur carnivore ever to exist on land, and then suddenly a big foot just stomps it and destroys the bones of T-Rex, and that was a teaser trailer. I remember watching that in the cinema, and the trailer came before Men in Black, and I remember the theater erupted, people screaming. And that's when I realized, wow, Godzilla has transcended, boundaries. I mean, I didn't realize he was that big in the West until I saw the reaction of that trailer. So I was really hyped for it. And then there was a leak of the design of Godzilla because they tried to hide the Godzilla design. I heard they were going to redesign it, but I didn't think it was going to change much. I mean, if you look at the Toho movies, there was always subtle changes throughout time, but I kept the kind of core essence of what he looked. And then it was one of the toys companies who released the design. And I saw it, I thought, I was a little bit disappointed. I was actually really disappointed because I was hoping that it wasn't that design, it was just designed for the toy. Then of course, after watching a film, you saw that it was actually is the design. They redone the whole design. The funny thing was, as a creature design, it was actually pretty good. But it wasn't Godzilla, because I think Hollywood really underestimated how Godzilla's appearance was so iconic, you know, that it kind of didn't do that well in Asia. It did okay. I think it did something like $500 million worldwide, so it was pretty good. The CG was pretty good for the time. I mean, Roland Emmerich was pretty good. And then, of course, fast forward into 2014, you had the current Godzilla, the Monsterverse. I liked them all. I actually really do enjoy what they're doing with Godzilla. Godzilla 2014, Godzilla King of Monsters or King of the Monsters, and Godzilla versus Kong. I found them good. They kept faithful to the design. People complain about Godzilla 2014 was being too dark. I liked it. I liked it kind of dark. He went to kind of did like a Jaws, what Steven Spielberg tried to hide Godzilla. I quite liked it. The only thing I was a bit about was the human side of things, because when you go and see a Godzilla movie, you don't really care too much about the human stories, right? You just want to see Godzilla and Godzilla wrecking things. If you definitely check the Monsterverse, and of course also check Kong Skull Island. Kong Skull Island is set between Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters, and so on. So, out of these Hollywood versions, my favorite has to be, it's very close between Godzilla King of the Monsters and Godzilla vs. Kong. I would say I'm torn because I do like Godzilla King of the Monsters. I do love the Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. But at the same time, I'm gonna swing it to Godzilla vs. Kong because it's got more action, I think. Better fight scenes. You've got Kong versus Godzilla twice. I won't spoil it who won. And then of course you got Kong, and then you got Mechagodzilla. Well, kind of spoiled that. I'm sorry if you haven't seen it. Mechagodzilla in that, which is, I said, my favorite Godzilla enemy. But definitely check those movies out as well. And I'm hoping they will continue. I know that the rights of Godzilla has been reverted back to Toho, but who knows? Maybe they can work something out for the future. He's hoping, huh? And then you got Team Godzilla. Because Godzilla has become such a big franchise in the last 60 plus years. It spawned TV shows, which I used to love when I was a kid. Can't watch it now because I hated Godzuki. I don't know why in school everybody loved Godzuki. I hated Godzuki. And then you got Godzilla the series, which is based on the 1998 movie, which was okay, nothing special. And then you got the Netflix CD animation. This one was weird because it was just split in 3 parts. I liked the first part. Second and third part went downhill. Seriously, you're going to watch it, just watch the first part. 2 and 3, 2 started off good, and the second half just fell off the cliff. The third one just annoyed me. I don't know what happened to that. He had a good concept, good story, well, he had good intent. I won't say good intent, but he had some good ideas, but just couldn't execute it. So I felt that was a waste of a trilogy. And then you got Godzilla Singularity Point. Haven't seen it yet, so I'm waiting to see that once I get some time. You got that TV show Godzilla Island. I think I only saw 1 or 2 episodes when I was a kid. It wasn't all that, but it was fun. I mean, you watch it now and it's just fun. And then of course Godzilla transcend all media. Like you got comics. He even crossed over to with Fantastic Four. And then of course I think Dark Horse picked up the right to do Godzilla comic. I know that there were some pretty cool artists like Arthur Adams who penciled a few of those. And comics, Godzilla doesn't just stop at comics. It transcends into video games. I know they're making a Godzilla for PS5. I think, just rumored. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it transcends movies, transcends TV shows, cartoons, anime, comics, video games, and also, if you get a chance, look into the history of Godzilla, how Godzilla was created, through politics, war. So check out how he was created. You will be baffled about the reason behind it. And then you got toys. a franchise this big can't go without toys. I got a few of these toys. They're pretty cool. And as Godzilla would say, it's lit. Well, anyway, hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. And please give this video a like if you like it, of course. And please consider subscribing to see more talking geeky stuff. Wow, what happened there? Well, anyway, thank you. I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And please stay safe. Goodbye.